Hello, so here is going to be a tutorial on making an empire and perhaps the first little bit on it. But first you want to go to settings, graphics, UI scaling down here, and you want to put that up to 5 for yourself, and that'll make everything much easier to read. I'm going to leave mine default because it's my monitor's doesn't work with my monitor. So you go new game, now you will have these empires to start with, so you could just choose one that's already been made. These are all made by the developers, so they're all balanced in some way or another. They're all valid, you can choose those, or you can make your own. So there's quite a lot, all the way from here, United Nations of Earth, all the way down to here. You'll have these, or some subset of these. I have those, plus these are all ones that I've made, all ones with the little eagle thing. Okay. But I think it's always better to create your own empire anyway, so I'll just walk you through. So you have your species and portrait. So do you want to be a mammal, a reptile, a mollusk, a plant? And these can have unique effects, or they cannot. So the plantoid, for example, allows for a trait, phototrophic. This species is sustained by a combination of both food and sunlight. Replaces 50% of food upkeep with energy credits upkeep. So that's an example there. Let's do something simple. We're going to go for a humanoid species. Let's go for humans. Why not? Okay, prosperous unification. So these are all your origins. You won't have all of these. You'll have some of these because you have a couple of expansions, but you won't have all of these. Prosperous unification is really, really good. You want to start with this one. Gives you an extra bunch of populations, gives you a couple of extra districts, makes everyone nice and happy. It's very standard start. Nothing special about it, no story, no challenges, etc. So it's not something you later on you'll want to explore with Origins for fun, because some of these are really fun. Like this one, for example, this is a challenging one. Your home world explodes within like 100 years of starting the game, so you have to be careful. Okay, so that's Origins, so don't worry about too much about that. We're just going to go for prosperous unification. Then government and ethics. So these are your ethics. This is your government type, and these are your civics. Okay, so what civics you can select have to do with your authority, your government type. We'll go for a democracy, and your ethics. So we're going to go for egalitarian, which means like freedom for everybody, and we're going to go xenophilic. So you really like aliens, and you're super into freedom, and you're a democracy. And to top that off, we can choose something like Beacon of Liberty, which increases your unity and decreases your empire size, which is good. And then we'll also go for Byzantine bureaucracy. Why not? This increases your unity production. Unity is very important. You'll remember I've referred to it in the previous video. So this is sort of, I wouldn't copy this exactly, but this is sort of the direction you want to go in. So what type of people do we want? So this is really up to you. Basically, as long as the number up here is at least 0 or +1, then so you have to mix negatives. So here's some negative traits, like jinxed. Leader maximum negative traits is higher. Number of them, sedentary, resettlement costs. So like these are, you know, just look at them and try and work out what doesn't look too good or doesn't look too bad. Genetic memory, passing learnings from one, habitability from colony. I don't really understand that one. So I'm going to put in rapid breeders. Traditional rapid breeders, and I'm going to put natural sociologists. Okay, but you can choose whatever you want and make your traits. So bear in mind, so things like bureaucracy jobs. So traditional says job efficiency for bureaucrat jobs. Bureaucrat jobs create unity. So it's important to remember. So you have these different. So natural sociologists, they produce research. Rapid breeders speaks for itself. So you've got research, you've got unity, you can build them so that they're better miners. I don't bother with that personally. Any sort of mix you want though. And you can play with it. And I would advise doing a bit of like theory crafting. So like depending on the species, you might pick, you know, reptilian, nasty looking guys, and you're like, oh, these guys should be super strong because that's what they look like to me. Like they should be strong, even though it has no necessarily particular benefit to you in the gameplay. It's what you want it to be for your RP, for your role play of your empire. So don't worry about like picking the best traits or anything like that. It's not about that. You can win pretty much with any mixture if you want to. So names list. So we've covered government and ethics. So I'll just say this is warrior, obviously. This is hate aliens, xenophobe. And you have xenophile on the opposite, so you can't have both xenophile and xenophobe, obviously. You can't have egalitarian and authoritarian, you can't have materialistic and spiritualistic, and you can't have pacifistic and warrior-like. So they're opposites. And you don't have to go one fanatic and one small. You can go for something like this, where you're using 3 different ethics at once. But I personally think it's much more simple to go for 2 basic ethics, 1 fanatic and 1 normal. Names lists, so just lots of potential lists for names for stuff to be generated in your empire, so you don't have to worry too much about naming everything. Although you can name everything if you want to. So we'll just choose humans UNE. Hold on, let's change that back to. Okay. And then you just choose the species name. Well, these guys are obviously humans. Human. Okay. Starting solar system. We'll do solar system. So, and we're going for continental world. So there's 9 different types of planets to choose from. So I've just named these just for my own sake. So you can have from everything from a desert world to a tundra world, continental world, ocean world. It doesn't really matter which one you pick, to be honest. It depends on what you want to do. Again, theory crafting just for fun. So I'm going to be continental world because I've chosen human beings. city type. So you go for a humanoid city type, or you go for a mammalian city type. You see it changing out the window. And you can also click room, and you could have got a selection of rooms that you can choose from. So I'm going to go for this one, like that. Advisor voice, you don't need to worry too much about that, but this is the voice that will speak to you in the game.
Priority alert.
We will have...
I may be an
Do not be afraid to exercise your individual right to free thought. Please take a moment now to practice.
So you might want to scroll through them and see which one is more or less irritating to you. To choose what voice you end up using. Flags have primary and secondary colours and some symbols that you can choose from. It's fairly straightforward, self-explanatory. So you can do like yellow and blue, for example. Ship sets. So we go for humanoid, but again, there's lots of choices. Don't choose biological ships, although I don't think you're going to be able to anyway. Ruler appearance. It's not important. You can choose a name for them if you want. You can change their title. You can change, you know, like the skin color, hairstyle, clothing, that kind of thing, and male or female. And then just add a ruler trait, which just do principled because it's simple. Then you save it. Okay, and that's an empire created. Really easy. Okay, and then you hit done, and you come into here, and this is where the game starts. So I would advise that you initially, for your first playthrough, because you just want to taste the game, turn this all the way to 0. So that you've got no other AI empires. You're just practicing building an empire of your own. So that's down here on the general settings. Otherwise, leave everything as it is. Go to medium, galaxy size. Choose whatever pretty shape you fancy. I would also lower the habitable worlds to 0.5, but you don't have to do that. Otherwise, just leave everything as it is. You don't need to worry about advanced settings, really. You just want the general game settings. Turn off the AI empires, and then just play. It's a lovely picture of a colossi destroying a planet. I've done that many times. That's a Dyson sphere being built around a sun to harness all the power from the sun. So I've got some building in my empire at the moment. That's a juggernaut. It's a giant ship. Okay. So, at the beginning, it's fairly simple. You want to do a couple of things. You want to go to your research, choose research. I would advise either going for extra energy production or go for your research buildings. So like Field Dynamics Center. Now, you're probably not going to go intensively onto research to begin with. So just go for your standard boost. This gives you Unity. Unity is very important, so you go for that. Planetary infrastructure, build speed is quicker. So yeah, we'll go for that. And you notice it takes quite a long time for stuff to research. And you won't start off with many of anything coming in. So you have very low economy. So you have your science ship, which is this little thing with the nuclear icon next to it. And that has automation, and you can just tell it to automatically explore and survey systems. Let it do that, and it will just go and explore for you. And you want to build a second one, and do the same with that second one, which you'll have to hire a leader for. Just the more I'm going into this, the more I realise it is quite a lot to begin with, to know what to do. But you don't have many resources, so you're limited in how much you can do, so you don't need to worry too much. So I would give some serious thought to where you want to drive it. So my empire that I'm playing at the moment, I've driven it to research, so I've just coated most of this home planet in research. But you might want to go a different route. You might want to go trade and bureaucrats to produce unity, and trade to produce trade goods. In which case you'll be wanting to build administrative offices and commercial zones when you have the minerals to do so. Decide at the beginning what route you're going to take for your civilization. Are you going to be industry heavy? Are you going to be commercial heavy, bureaucratic heavy, research heavy? Or are you going to be trying to be a mix of everything? So I would advise for your first playthrough, I would go for commercial zones and bureaucracies, administrative offices, and just like hammer getting your trade value up and your unity up. Now the great thing about trade value is it can be used to buy things. So if you're not making enough alloys and you have massive amounts of trade because you've made your empire trade based, then you'll be able to buy everything you need. So I've not done that kind of playthrough yet, but it's perfectly possible. So I'll just unpause this for a moment. So it's very slow, so I've already done everything I really need to do. You can look at your government. So if you remember from my previous tutorial, if you want to go through what the menus all mean again, I would go back to, or refer you back to my previous tutorial. Policies and edicts. You want to change to isolationist to begin with, because that increases your unity. And you want to change your... You want to change your subjugation war terms to benevolent vassage, just because that makes people happier with you. Other than that, leave it alone. For now. But there's lots of policies, like everything from whether or not you're allowed robotic workers or whether they're against the law. So now robotic workers are now against the law. Like, it's all done from in here. So there's there'll be lots later to choose from. Now here, these are your traditions. Now again, I would advise that you go for mercantile to begin with.
Council agenda available.
And then your focus is going to be on making trade. So I have really thought that this is going to be quite the trading empire. But again, don't have any mineral resources. Here's your second science ship. If you go down to here, you'll need to click this plus button and then hire a scientist if you have enough unity, which we need to wait another month to have enough unity. You just choose a scientist. I'm going to choose the 39-year-old. Okay. Pop it in your ship, and then automatic explore and survey. Just let it do that. That's all you need for them to do for a while. Every time they come across an anomaly, just ignore the anomalies. Ignore everything like that. Just let your guys explore. That's what you want it to begin with. Just explore, explore, explore. Okay, I'm going to speed up time a little bit. So you see you've got your whole galaxy here. There will be normally AI everywhere, but you've got, this galaxy is empty. There are no AIs in this galaxy. There's just a couple of fallen empires. So you have a completely empty galaxy to play with. Just for the fun of it. So you just keep going for your mercantile.
Log updated.
for example, if that's the route you want to take. See, so when you play it on your own, obviously it's going to be a bit overwhelming, so that's why I say just choose a direction. So maybe bases it off part of what this sort of tutorial shows you, just to give you an idea, so that because there's so many different ways to play the game, you might as well focus in on one, and go from there. So they do different things. Each one of these do different things. So each tradition has, you have to adopt it. That's one selection. And then you have 5 level ups within it. So each tradition has 6 purchases, if you will. The initial purchase of the tile, and then each of the 5 tiles inside of it. And then once you have all of those tiles filled, you'll be able to get an ascension perk, which are these powerful perks for your empire. Intelligent life taunts with pointed absence, reads a popular Newsnet post on Earth. The people of the allied human tribes are apparently finding some humour in the fact that lower forms of alien life are now a matter of public record, but potential equals from other stars continue to elude us. A report on the traces of alien life that was recently found seemingly only add an ironic twist to the situation. And then you've got 2 things you can choose. It doesn't really do much. So the beginning of the game is a lot of like just waiting around for your resources to stack up a bit. So now you can afford to build something. So I build an administrative office to begin with, because on your economy you can see you've got 1.8 thousand civilians. So because you're going mercantile, you do want to keep some of your civilians around. You definitely want to keep some civilians, but put some of them to work. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm building an administrative office to put some of them to work straight away. And you can also, you need to build your raw resource depots as well, deposits. So I would probably build a couple of mining districts right off the bat, very early on, to get your minerals up, because they are quite low. 22, it takes ages. So eventually you want to get all of these into like plus 100. Like energy is like ridiculous. I don't know what it is I've done.
Survey complete.
I've never played with this style before, but I'm setting up for you. I always go for research superiority, but trade superiority is just as valid, and I've just never done it before. Okay, so now you've completed all of them. I would choose, say, for instance, 1 vision, which gives you increase in your monthly unity. Again, unity is what you're spending here. It's what you spend on your leaders. It's what you spend on these edicts as well. Some of them. Let's have some
anomaly
Council
detected.
agenda ready.
I'll just clear those. It's a council agenda. Just come in here and select one. I would go for whatever tickles your fancy. Have a look at what it is. I'm going to go for that one. But given that this is a practice run, don't expect like every nuance of the game for you to be able to get the grasp with. So you want to just concentrate first on like developing your planets, like how I'm showing you, and don't worry too much about the extra stuff. You can always come to that later when this becomes second nature. Then you can start looking at like, oh, how do I do this better? How do I refine this?
Survey complete.
So I'm going to send my construction ship over to Bernard's Star to build me a starbase outpost, because these two planets are colonizable. That's why they're green. These are planets. So I'm going to want... But you can't colonize it unless it's got a starbase. So I'm building a starbase to get to Sirius and Alpha Centauri. And starbases cost influence as well as alloys. So God, Unity's really working out for these guys. Oh, I think I've got my Unity costs turned down actually. Yeah, it's just whatever you want to go for. I would probably go for expansion or prosperity. I'd go for prosperity.
Council agenda available.
Yeah, so you get an idea
Blocker
of how
cleared.
long it takes for things to happen as well. So you can see already, like, there's a lot of downtime. I'm not doing anything much. Hence why you might want to watch a bit of TV while you play this game. Because, as you see, it's just staring at a screen. Now, I kind of like it, and I will stare at a screen like this for ages, and I'll just continually scroll through menus. And just check things out, and I'll just keep
Construction
doing it.
complete.
Colony ship. I don't really pay too much attention to
Technology
trades.
discovered.
Don't worry too much about this. It's just leveling up you guys. I mean, maybe have a look and see what you
Blocker
think is
cleared.
beneficial. Obviously, I'm rushing through it because I don't want you to focus too much on like the stuff that's going to be potentially overwhelming. But you basically, your leaders get levels up, and then you choose their perks, and they come with these little tooltips like here: stability +4 if they're on the council. And she's the president, so she is on the council. It's a little planet here. And a little one over here. This is actually
Blocker
quite a
cleared.
good one. Yeah, this is a good planet.
Construction complete.
So at first you'll only be able to build, say, 3 more star bases because your influence will run out. So just go for your colonizable planets. You'll have at least 2 that your science ships will discover. You want to get to them and colonize them as soon as possible. Just because it takes a
Survey
while
complete.
for population to grow and for the planets to fill up and to be of any use to you. So you do want to colonize as early as possible. So I need more alloys. Let's buy some. Not many though. Colony ship, second colony ship. So I'm just
Technology discovered.
getting those ready to send out. So I've gone for mineral for miners just to increase what I'm getting. It's quite a big galaxy. Keep forgetting it's completely empty.
Anomaly detected.
I just choose the traits pretty much automatically. I can't really play differently to how I do play. I know which of these that I'm not particularly interested in reading. You might want to read much more of it, because it's all going to be new to you.
Construction complete.
There we are. First colony ship is ready. I'm going to send you to Stellaris. You just right click and then click colonize the planet, and then there's a little dice icon that comes up here. You can give it a name. If you press the dice icon, it will swap through names from your name list. Or you can also name it yourself. So I can take Earth here. This is my home planet. I can click on it. I can click on Earth up here, and I can change that to... Well, I can't remember how to spell Gaia. Oh well. Pooh. It's the planet Pooh. Whatever you want to call it. You can rename your stars, but only if you own them. There you go. I'm not going to leave that as that, but I'm not playing with this empire anyway, so I don't need to worry about it. It's just for demonstrative purposes. So I would just begin like this, nice and slow, just let things progress, and then start to explore the nature of the game beyond it as and when it comes up. So there'll be lots of stuff you're like, oh, how do I do that? What does this mean, for example? Don't worry about it. You'll find out what it means later. When your science ships are no longer doing whatever they're doing, you'll want them to start doing anomalies. So when you want them to stop exploring, you click the automation button again, complete. Then unclick and just, you see, so I want this guy to investigate anomalies rather than explore and survey systems. And then you hit start, and off that he'll go and just do anomalies until he runs out of anomalies. But that's not the place for that just yet. It's not the time for it.
Establishing colony.
Okay, first colony down. Second colony ship ready. Colonize Alpha Centauri. Colonize, give it a name. There we go. And it has a period where it's colonizing.
Survey complete.
So you see that I've been clicking this. This is your space station. You can also get to it by going in here and clicking on this. It's where you build your ships, as well as some other, depending on what buildings you've discovered, modules and buildings you have. Yeah, there is quite a learning curve. I will say that. So I would just say if you play with an empty galaxy, there's no wrong answers. You'll just develop slower. Then you just might develop slower, but you won't know it. You won't have any AIs to pitch against you. So you'll just go at your own pace and discover the game at your own pace. Until you get bored. of that, which you inevitably will, probably. Which is also why I advise that you have a plan for your empire.
Establishing colony.
That's role play. You know? That is like a science fiction-y idea or whatever, and you just go with it. So like Mario's got his vampire bats and he's just gone with it. A lot of the game is about storytelling, and it's stories you're telling yourself. So, you know, this is Earth, the trading empire of Earth. All commercialistic, very new capitalist. You know, you can play on that, you can riff on it, you know. And that makes it more fun. Okay. I think that'll do for now.